I got an oversized drill bit here. I'm just gonna ream out a couple of holes. Let's go for it. Looks like I might have this transmission here sold. Took it outside and pressure washed it pretty good. On the last series, we're kind of having a problem with the engine mounts. Well, our friend Todd Boat came in for us. Came through. So this is the passenger side mount that just wasn't gonna work. We'll come over here to our passenger side mount that I have for my truck, and it's miles different. So I'm gonna clean those up real quick. Lift the engine up with the hoist there and swap the mounts out, and we'll see how we're looking. So I already went and eyeballed this mount here. I put it kind of with the engine, and the stud lines up with our other i6 mount. So what needs to happen is we need to lift it up and get all these bolts undone. Okay, we got a 19mm wrench here. It's actually an 18. Come on, don't be an asshole. Nobody likes an asshole. So now this guy here, well, let's compare him. So this here bolts to the engine like that. It's not so much the length of it, it's the height of it. Let's put our nuts and washers on here. I believe this was a 19. This was a 19. Just lock the bastard right down. I do think I'm gonna have to move my transmission mount. I'm gonna have to flip it so that it'll kind of sit back a little bit further. Yeah, what I'm running into is that this needs to go back a tiny bit. It's gonna rest on the stud there, which is fine. Now I'm going to go on there and I'm going to jack, this is scary because I'm going to jack the transmission up. I'm going to undo the mount because you see the holes on these? One side is longer than the other. Well, I think the way it is right now is that it's like this. So we're bottoming out. If I flip it around, it'll give me just a little bit more room to push it back. Okay, it's not flipping the mount. I've already got the mount flipped how I want it. These bastards changed the cross member on the 85. So the 82, you have another set of slots going back. And I can't use it because I don't freaking have it. So I have to get a rotary burr and eat away at that to get it to move back. No es bueno. Why? Come on. So the rotary burrs I bought just skate right over the steel, so I can't slot these things any further. I'm going to take it out and try and really get some pressure on it, or just go get another cross member. So right now I got the transmission back out of the truck, and I'm going to push this thing back and get the driver's side motor mount into its spot. So I guess I'll jack that up. Now it moves around no problem. I got the stud for that mount in there. So I'm going to take a nut here and thread it down, get it locked down, and then we'll get the other side done, and then we'll just be dealing with the transmission. So let's see if I can climb in here and actually reach. Nope, I'm not going to. Screw that. That's not going to work. Okay. There. Alright. I'm going to jack it up a tiny bit. block of wood out of here. Get this located where we need it, and then we'll just deal with the cross member crap later. I think I'm going to pull the cross member out, and I'm going to really just ream on it. We might even just take a sawzall or something to it and just really trim it out. Okay, now I'm getting the third bolt in here. I'm just about done. Pretty much just need to put a nut on this side and just torque it down, and then the engine's mounted. A little tip for you. This motor right here needs to sit right about there. The reason why is because if it's up top, you can't get a nut in there. So what I did is I took this nice little wrecking bar and kind of stuck it down here. Got it right there on the mount and just hammered down on it. So that's in there pretty good now. The engine's sitting good. I can get it out on the other side because there's room. And it's sitting level so far. Well, right now I'm at the stage where I have the engine mounted to the frame. I just don't have the transmission done because the butt heads that made this truck, well, they changed the cross member a little bit on it. Okay, this is where we're going to modify the cross member here. I pretty much got this with, there's the head of the bolts are a 15 and the nuts are an 18, and I got that with my little air ratchet, and it came out no problem. So yeah, anyways, so looks like I got a spot here. Yeah, let's go for it. That should suffice. There we go. Now we got our slots, bastard. Finally, I'm done fiddle farting with getting this thing mounted. It's bolted to the frame, locked down. Our cross member's locked down. All the factory bolts. You can see we just had to cut some slots in there. I moved back a little bit, so we have some room for that. Check out our drive shaft depth. That's nice. A little bit more than what I got on mine, but so I guess I can install the clutch shift fork. So that's all done. Okay, this will just give you a vague idea of what I'm going to be doing right here. I'm going to hook up the clutch stuff, and then we're going to hook up the speedo and the reverse light wire. Out of here. Okay. So we did put the yeah, I would have been so pissed if we forgot this. Right in my face. Yes, set up. It's the same shift fork, same boot. Okay, we got that in there. So we got our plastic clip for the clutch sleeve. That's in there. You wouldn't believe it, but when you push on this pedal here, the clutch disengages. I just need to adjust a little bit of that play there, get that out of there, but other than that, we're good. we have a working clutch. Something in the van, we just couldn't get that to work. Okay, so I found, I knew I cut this out. This is the wire that went on the passenger side in the back of the i6. This is the temperature wire. It's a red with a white stripe. And this here's the connector. See, we have a orange or yellow with a red stripe. And then we got an orange with a, or yellow with a red stripe right here. And then it looks like we have our red and the white stripe. So this goes to our instrument cluster. These are the only 2 wires we need out of this. The other 2, I think, are just BS. I don't know what those go for, but we don't need them. This wire here goes for the tach. We're gonna hook this up, but we're gonna leave it isolated. And then this should be power. We're gonna find out which one's key on, engine on. Okay. I found our wire on this loop here. The white with the blue is our key on, engine on. So just take that out. So yeah, there. The other 2 wires we do not need. So now I can make my wiring harness. If I know the wires for the oil temp and we know the key on, so now we just gotta solder everything together. Alright, it's gonna be tough to show you because it's getting dark, but here's our wiring harness. In fact, our Cummins to Ford wiring harness. Got the turn on here. We got oil and water. So they're all plugged in. It's one loom now. Water temp is going to come here after I get a little bushing for it. The alternator. Why, that looks like a factory connection right there. Alternator's pretty simple. When you get the connectors, you plug them in. There's going to be a thick red wire. That's going to jump right to the battery terminal. And then you have a white wire. That's if you buy a brand new connector. We'll just say that you buy a brand new connector for a GM alternator. That white wire is going to go over to your orange wire, which is a key on in the alternator harness. So just test it. You'll have one that's got a big lead and the other one just pushes on. That one you cut off and you solder to your white wire connection to your alternator. So that will work with the voltage regulator in there, and we should be able to just charge no problem. So that's going to work. And then we got our connections here. Turn the key, you can hear that everything click on. So I've got the oil pressures hooked up. I need to tighten all that down. I got to get a bushing for this so we can lock this down into here. We're going to pull this guy out and then put in our bushing and then put that guy in right there. And then I'm going to set the timing on this pump back to where the notches are on the case and the pump. So that's back to normal. And then what we'll then do is tighten up the oil pressure thing. That's done. And then I just got to wire up the this guy here. I'm going to solder 2 wires. This normally sits in the engine like this. So these 2 here, I'm going to solder a couple of wires to one to each one. Screw that back in and run my loom out here and solder those in. So anyways, what I've done for a ground, this engine came with a ground cable. It's got a couple of good spade connections on it. Right here on the i6 mounts, there was a thing for like all the wires and stuff. I just put my ground right there, bolted it down and ran this wire. It was a perfect length right down to here, bolted the other end to the engine there, and I have a good nice ground. Without it nothing worked, so I got that. And then the ground goes to the side of the block here, comes up to the battery. So yeah, I'm gonna swap this cable out here. We have a new one. I'm gonna swap that out with the other one, wherever that may be. I got it right there. And then I'm actually gonna work on the starter. I'll probably work on that tomorrow when I can see. But the other stuff here, I'm gonna work on this and making a harness, finishing up doing the harness here since I have light. So yeah, I'm probably about 3 beers into this just after dinner. I'm gonna plug in the live support here. So I got, I have the cold start temperature sensor hooked up. I actually tested it to see if it works. I heated it up and I got continuity once it heats up. So that's working and it's wired up. It's actually using a Ford plug from the Econoline. I took a bunch of connectors and I wired that up to a connector so you can unplug it, because the end that's broke off, well, I took new wires and soldered them right to those terminals, so it works. Still kind of warm. I tweaked that up a little bit. Brand new sensor. Don't even know if it works. Okay, tubes. You remember how earlier I was like, yeah, we need to hook up the reverse lights and stuff? Let me just show you. I kind of did it already. I'm going like, doing kind of a blitzkrieg type of deal on this thing. Oh, I can't see a thing. See if I can get my flashlight here. Our reverse connector is right there. So from going over here, which is what the RTS had, we're coming back here and plug it in there, and then a throttle cable just goes basically back where it was before. I want to put the fastener in there, lock that down, and then we're pretty much done back here. I'll get this boot and everything put back on. I do have to make a couple of vice grip repairs to it. That's no big deal. Kind of do that right now. So, and then we're done there. I was gonna wrap up tonight, but I kind of want to get it to where tomorrow I'm just taking care of some loose ends. Like what I'm getting is we have to get a bushing for this. We're gonna pop this guy out. This is going in the bitch bin. We're gonna get a bushing that will go into the block of the engine, and then once we do that, we're done there. I have to make a bracket to go here to support the bottom of the alternator. Once I do that, I'll lock that down, and then we're going to put our belt back on and have it tensioned properly. I want to get it to where this tensioner, this end here, comes to about here, so we got some good tension on it. We're going to wrap this one up here with throwing the core support back on. I think we're going to get it loosely in place. Just for right now. I'm going to throw it on. And then, it'll be rest there. You align it how you need it. Instead.